Welcome back, everyone. My name is Fia Gloss, and right now we are playing Holes I Knew You by Fia Gloss. This is a bonus. I just thought it would be kind of fun to go through and talk about my game a little bit. Just because, I don't know, it felt kind of weird to just not play mine. I don't know why. I just thought it'd be funny. This is just goofy. But Holes I Knew You. I made this while I was on a business trip. And so I'm just in a hotel room. Desperately I'm like, working hours a day and and then going to my hotel. Then I had to get on a train to go eat food and all that. And then I go back to my hotel and I'm like desperately typing, trying to even think of the story because my brain's just mush after what I was traveling to do. So anyway, didn't think it would happen. But here we are. I just got a story idea a couple days into the SCREAMWORLD jam. I wasn't initially going to do it. I was just going to try and, be a part of it just so I could see what the entries were. Cause I like these Scream jams. They're pretty cool. So anyway, felt the cold touch of stale ale. I'm not going to read it. That's fine. So, managed to get it to the point where when I got home, all I had left to do was the CSS for this and then the audio. There's a lot of ideas that I meant to put in this game that just didn't happen. But it happens. Sometimes you just run out of time. So the first thing you might notice is that there's little bars here. This was supposed to be kind of your first hint, visually, that something was up. This was supposed to be like the corners of a viewfinder and a camera. And so, let me just preface this: massive spoilers ahead for Holes I Knew You, the hot new game everybody's talking about. But this was supposed to be like the first clue something was awry, that you've got the viewfinder of a camera going and you're just walking around. So if you've played 3 Mile especially, this is exactly the same sort of setup for 3 Mile of, you click a certain thing and then you've got link replaces for the rest of it. So far, this is the best way I've found to make Twine feel a little more professional, I guess. I don't know how else to make it professional. So, couple things that I wanted to do was, initially I was going to make this room not have any kind of protection that's mentioned. Here's the key card. I took the key card and then I left. Of course, if you notice, because you're not actually a physical person, when you search the room, on the floor was the key card. It was as if it never moved at all. That's your next hint. You're not actually, a physical person. And so the way that you feel about you, since you've always been a human being, you can only contextually understand your world as a human being, or at least that's the way I'm approaching it in this game. And so it's kind of like your character's just been part of this impact, and presumably they've been asleep for a while and they've just sort of woken up now, or they've only begun to understand their new form enough to somewhat have a perspective at all. So yeah, I was initially not going to put a transparent barrier there, but I just thought that might be too on the nose. You might be too like, oh, okay. So obviously you got to, at least in your mind, rectify that you've picked up the key card. Your character has to believe that you've picked up the key card in order to open the door, but they're part of the AI of the ship. So there's no reason they could not have opened the door at any moment. But that's just how they understood it. So this part, I thought this one worked out well. The audio is on one track, and then I just timed it so that it's a second of, you know, second of this, and then it just happened to work out that the audio and the video sync up. That's not done on purpose. I'm not that talented. This was just like one of those initial ideas I had of like, wouldn't it be cool if, and then I did this. So one of the downsides I felt of the story was that I didn't know how to explain the locations better than hallways diverging or that kind of thing. And so I think sometimes when you try to actually think about the layout of the ship, it's confusing and it doesn't feel very, I wish I would have spent more time explaining really what the places looked like. And obviously here we've got a reference to my earlier game, so you can figure that out and just have the ending spoiled for you immediately. The cryopods and all that, that was going to be more of a thing. Another thing that was going to kind of happen here that didn't was I was going to put in this feeling of there being an alien on board. And especially when you go to the crew quarters and the captain's quarters, let's see. Let's see. I feel like, well, I was going to try and put in some hints about there being an alien on board. I forget where I was going to put it, but it was going to initially have the feeling of you being stalked on the ship, that the character was going to feel like, and I guess maybe the best place to show it was if you go back in through the hallway, the red hallway. He says, I didn't feel safe in the hallway. The light warned me of something unknowable. I was too out of body to understand what. The rhythm of the alarm played between my thoughts. Something was wrong here. It was a corridor between life and unlife. Maybe it's the first time you go through the hallway, but it kind of says that there's something at the edge of his vision. And so it's supposed to kind of be like, it was supposed to sort of be like, at first you thought there was an alien on board. And that's what the crash was about. But I just didn't really get a chance to develop that as much as I wanted. I kind of wanted to set up the red herring of there being an alien on board and it was stalking you. And just have it be that like the alien's already inside you. The alien's already bridged the connection between itself, you, and the ship. And you're now just sort of this, so like the feeling that you were having of being stalked or somebody watching or whatever was kind of like somebody's already inside you watching, like the parasite is already watching. It didn't happen, but that's if I had more time and I was actually the kind of person with the ability to go back and fix things, which I'm not, then that's something I would do, is add more of that kind of feeling. Or, if I was going to remake this game, and especially if I was going to remake it as like a point and click adventure, which is the only thing I could imagine it as, I would add the feeling of like something's watching you, something's just outside your vision, something's at the edge of the edge of your vision or something, and maybe do some like pixel effects or something of like distortion and leave it unexplained, but then sort of contextualize it later as malfunctions of the viewing equipment that you're using to actually see now. So yeah, the escape pod, I think it's kind of sad. It's too bad. I wanted the escape pod to not necessarily be the end. It's what, 552-1-2-3, I think. I haven't played this in a bit. Okay, yeah. Cool. I was going to have the escape pod not be the ending. But then again, I ran out of time. As you've probably heard in my other videos, like I've got a daughter and a wife and all that, and I work an over full-time job. So it's sometimes difficult for me to get a whole lot of time to do these things. But initially it was supposed to be you go into the escape pod and then you basically wake back up where you started, and then create another condition by which you actually end the game. So that way you're like, well, wait, we got on the escape pod and then we just ended right back up here. What happened? But I ended up just having not enough time to do that. So I just ended up having to do this. So yeah, the idea is that, you know, the ship and you are now the same thing. And so you're kind of just staring at your own body floating in space. It's like your old husk, you know, you're staring into the holes of your eyes and you knew them. Yeah, so that was my short story for Scream World. Not my strongest story in my opinion. But you know, I've never really done a science fiction story before. My daughter's not liking it at all. So anyway, I just thought it'd be fun to play through it and give like a little director's commentary, I guess, or something. But you know, I'm proud of the ASCII art, even though I just popped that into like a generator, but I think it works. It looks cool. I should have put more in there really. But yeah, so that's Holes I Knew You. My first attempt at making a sci-fi story. Some people I think liked it. A lot of people mentioned they liked, you know, the twist of it and everything. They didn't see it coming, which fair enough. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's a wonky twist. So most people, it's not something, I don't even know if it's really all that satisfying of an ending, but it's just what my idea was. You know, I walk home from work and I just have a lot of time to think. And so on my walks home, you know, at midnight or whatever time it is when I'm getting home from work, you know, I'll be thinking like, okay, I'll get like a random idea in my head. Like, what about, you know, a lot of times my stories have to do with the breakdown of actual physical reality and a person's perspective of it. And it's like a weird thing that I've just been kind of stuck on. And so all my stories kind of deal with it. And if you go to the archives and you put in the right passcode, it goes into it a little bit of just like this kind of silly, weird thing I've been stuck on for 2 years now, I guess. So anyway, that was Holes I Knew You. I didn't want to feel left out, so I just thought I'd do my own game. Why not? Want to thank everybody again for submitting to the Scream World. It was a lot of fun. The Discord gets livelier each time. If I wasn't such an old man, I'd contribute more. So anyway, I hope everybody's having a fun time, and I hope I can do these again sometime. Maybe I will start doing these more often. Maybe just with like interactive fiction and things that I think are painfully unappreciated. So anyway, have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope this was enlightening or enriching for somebody, especially if they really enjoyed this game. So anyway, have a good one, guys. I will see you around. Goodbye.